Reading for Robin, Advent, Day 8, Let Earth Receive Her King, by Alistair Begg. To us a child is born. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Isaiah 9:6. Christmas is God's definitive answer to all of the world's darkness and all of life's disappointments. At Christmas, the answer to the hopes and fears of all the years is found in a single newborn baby. Godly men and women have been looking for the birth of this child ever since the promise of a serpent crusher in Eden. The people of Israel had long been awaiting the arrival of the one who would embody all of their hopes. The prophets had been declaring the coming of the Messiah, and the expectation of such a deliverer steadily grew. And as he prophesied the coming of light to the darkness, Isaiah added significant fuel to the fire of this longing by giving wonderful detail about the identity and work of this coming king. In Isaiah's day, the people of God still had centuries to wait before his arrival. But we do not. Today, peer with me into that first century food trough and marvel at the one who lay there. This child is our wonderful counselor. In the ancient world, kings were known to some measure by their counselors. The extent of their authority and rule was made apparent by the number of advisors they could call upon for guidance. A wise ruler is honest enough to recognize they cannot possibly know everything about everything, and therefore they need people to give them advice. And yet this king, Isaiah said, would have none, not because he lacks wisdom, but because he is the embodiment of it. He himself is the wonderful counselor. He has no need of any outside wisdom in order to rule with absolute perfection as well as total authority. He requires no advice, he makes no mistakes, and he never merely guesses as to the best way forward. For he himself, the best way forward for himself or his subjects. As a wonderful counselor, he has a perfect plan. The child is our mighty God, and therefore he has the power to execute that perfect plan. After all, a plan in and of itself is no good if you cannot execute it. But here is a king who can walk on water and heal the sick and raise the dead. He is the divine king, and nothing is too hard for him. Christ's authority will never come to an end, for he is the Lord of creation. The wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles, is that this God has entered into our circumstances, assumed the frailty of the creatures, and embraced human weakness in the fullness of his power. Never let it cease to amaze you that as with the eyes of faith you peer into that food trough at the baby who lies inside, you are looking at the mighty God. The child is our everlasting Father. Here we move from God's plan and his power to his paternity. The child who was promised in Isaiah is our everlasting Father. This title here is not a reference to the first person of the Trinity, for it was God the Son who took on human flesh. Isaiah is saying that Jesus is like a perfect father to his people. Father-like, he tends and spares us. Well, our feeble frame he knows. In his hand he gently bears us, rescues us from all our foes. In other words, having brought us into his family, Jesus will forever hold us fast. He hasn't gone to the extent of seeking us out, forgiving us, embracing us, and drawing us to himself in order that he might just cast us aside. Everlasting is not merely a reference to his eternal being. It is a reference to the never-ending dimension of his care. There will never be a day when the Lord Jesus does not know what you need. There will never be a day when the Lord Jesus is not able to do what you need. And there will never be a day when the Lord Jesus does not long to do what you need, for his love for you is father-like. There is no limit to, and can be no end to, his love for you. The Lord of creation tends to us each day in every way like a perfect father. The child is our Prince of Peace. Sin spoils things for all of us. It separates us from one another and from God. All of us by nature are alienated and hostile in mind to our Creator. Colossians 1:21. But the Prince of Peace has come. Jesus Christ can end the conflict between God and humanity, for he crossed the divide between God and us in his incarnation, and he bridged the divide between us and God in his death and resurrection. He is the only one who is able to take the place that we deserve to take because of our sin. He is the only one who loves us enough to choose to take our place despite our sin. Finding true peace and prosperity is not about personal achievement. It is not about fixing ourselves or being better people next year than we were this year. It's about embracing what Christ has achieved. Our wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace has come. Without Jesus, if we possess everything, we really have nothing. And with Jesus, even if we possess nothing, we really have everything. We can joyfully submit to his plans, bow the knee to his rule, rely on his tender care, and let his peace dwell in our hearts. For unto us this child, this king, has been born. For reflection, which of the 4 descriptions of the Lord Jesus that we have enjoyed today did you particularly appreciate? What does it prompt you to praise Jesus for, and what does it lead you to ask him to do in or for you?